You all must be wondering what I'm just doing right now. Okay, for your information, just now I introduced myself in sign language. Okay, let me introduce myself properly. My name is Nurul Ashikin. So basically, the sign language that I chose to related to the topic. For the topic for today is 3 ways to communicate with hard hearing person. Okay, communication are important to us, not just for skill but for our life. Imagine our life without communication. It would be bored. It because most everything we do, we need to communicate. Such as when we ask direction, we need to communicate with the person. We need so we can get an answer. Many people think that it's very hard to communicate with hard hearing people, and some people interesting to communicate but do not know how to communicate with them. You have been in the right place. Okay, there are such many ways to approach them, but most effective way to communicate with hard hearing people are speak clearly using gesture or expressions and sign language. Okay, let's start by looking on the way to communicate with a hard hearing person. Okay, the first way to communicate with hard hearing people is speak clearly. Speak clearly is very important to everybody, either you are a normal person or have problem with hearing. It is because when you speak to someone, you need to speak out well to make sure that they are understanding and heard what are you saying. Same goes to the people who have hard hearing problem. They need to pay attention on the sentence or word that others speak. So it is important to speak clearly so that people can understand it. Speak to them clearly without exaggerations. You don't have to scream at them because it can make them sad or feel offended. Just speak normal, like always you spoke up to the people, more clearly. When speak to them, also try not to mumble. If you mumble, they do not understand what are you talking about. Same goes to individual with natural ears. The most important thing is to keep on talking naturally, just a regular space, like not too fast or not too slow. After you done spoke up using pause to allow the person to catch up what are you saying rather than sluggish speech. Let's say if you want to change the topic, just offer hint or say new topic so they will know that you want to move to the other topics. Okay, second is when communicating with the deaf or hard of hearing, it is highly important to use gesture or expressions. Why? Gesture or expression are play a big role of communications. It is the best way to us to make an explanations. This is also important to communicate with hard hearing people. This can range from basic stuff to more complex images and movement such as pointing or touching things you're talking about. It should begin to come more easily after a while, and you will find it's easier to randomly find it using your body as medium of communications. Okay, for example, using your hand as a storyline to make explanation or story that you want to tell. This is also important to communicate with hard hearing people. Imagine how bad a story would be if your friend is sitting there and spitting out the sentence. Your mind is going to drift and you can feel disconnect from his word. By doing the gesture, can make them understand the storyline that we want to talk, and also make them feel struggle with to them with expression and gesture. Even we as a normal also using gesture and expression while speaking to make sure that a person understand and feel it about what we are talking. Okay, expression also can make them know our conditions. For example, when we said so, they know it because expression that we made. Okay, the third way is people with hearing loss and their family often need special skill to able to learn language and communicate. These tips are really interesting to have it. Who know who knows the meaning of sign language? Okay, for short explanations, sign language is the language that use gesture made with the hand or and other motions used mainly by people who are deaf, including facial expression and body posture. For our country, we use ASL Sign Language, which is American Sign Language. Learning sign language is very important to our communications with hard hearing people, especially their families. Okay, they must to learn sign language for their children who having hard hearing. For beginner, we can learn sign language on online class or YouTube since now the world is experiencing a pandemic of virus COVID-19. Such as learning alphabet, learning how to organize the sentence, also learning how to communicate with them using sign language. It's not it's not difficult to learn sign language. Okay, it will help to encourage the brain to learn every language and give it a strong workout by learning sign language. By that, I mean it can enhance its cognitions, your creative thinking, brain functionalities, memory, spatial awareness, mental rotation skill, and more. Okay, in conclusions, this communication is very important even if a person is hearing problem. We as a perfect human being in terms of hearing should respect them and do not regard them as a burden because they also want to be born perfect hearing. People around also play an important role in providing encouragement and support to those who have this hearing problem. This is because they have a low spirit and they know that they have hearing problem. Okay, we as a normal people do not need to low down those who are lack of hearing because this will destroy their spirit. Just talk to them in the way that I told early. In that way, they will feel valued and just like a normal people. Thank you.